has them ranked as the #1 NFL team as far as fan bases are concerned, despite losing 7 of their last 10 games. This squad is still at the top of the NFC East. In Week 15, they host Todd Gurley and the Rams. Let's send it over to Cowboys owner Jerry Jones to hear what he had to say are the keys to stopping a revitalized Rams offense.
Well, we've got to play defense, let's say, the way we did against Buffalo. We've had good defensive games this year. We didn't have good defense the other day against Chicago. But we need to pick out 3 or 4 games that we've had good defense and play like that. And when you line up, you plan on that. That surprised everybody. It surprised the players. It surprised the coaches that we end up going out and having the night that we have. We've got to, you can have bad nights or you can have bad games, and you can have more than one bad game. We've got to play better or we won't beat the Rams.
Cowboys tied with the Eagles for the top of the division. They're taking a look at the playoff picture. The Rams have won 5 of 7 Cowboys losers in 4 of their last 5. Dallas, though, controls the playoff chances. The Rams need some help. And let's be honest, making the playoffs doesn't seem like it's good enough for either of these squads considering preseason expectations. But, Nate, if they do get in, who's got the better chance to make a Super Bowl run?
I'm going to go with the Rams, just because they've been there. Like, they were just in the Super Bowl, and I get it. It's an ugly situation right now. They do not control their own destiny. They have to win out and get a little help, but right now they're on the outside looking in. But if they get in, they have everything that they had last year. And last year, they were moments away, not a few games away, and not a playoff run away. We're talking a few plays away from being Super Bowl champions. And the simple fact that they put up 60-plus points in the last couple of weeks, this team is catching the rhythm at the right time. Not to mention Todd Gurley is getting in the end zone, which means there's a better flow to this offense. Do you guys think it's a surprise that Jared Goff is playing well? That's because it's a direct result of a good running game right now. So I'll say it's the Rams because they were just in the Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm so tired of this, and I respect the question, but I refuse to indulge hypotheticals with the Cowboys right now. If you were to power rank the teams right now this week, where would you put Dallas? Are they 15? Are they 20? Like, there's 10, 12, 15 other teams that we should be talking about. Instead, we're talking about because they got the star in their helmet, and they have a lot of famous players. They're not good. What'd you say? They've lost 7 of 10 games? And, you know, DeMarcus Lawrence came out this week and said, it's time for me to step up, which I respect, but hello? It's time now? This is the time? I have a friend who I'm not going to name. He always is on me like, you know, I got to get married, man. I got to get a job going. I'm like, dude, you're 40. Like, now, this should have been 10 years ago. So it's the Rams in a runaway. The Cowboys can't beat anybody. If they do this, if they get to the playoffs, they're going 1 and done. That's it. The only thing that's stopping them from finishing 6 and 10 is they have to play the Eagles, and someone's going to win that game. So it's the Rams. It's not close. Dallas, when you do something with your life, I'll respect it, but you haven't.
It's a different feel this week than the last 2 weeks with Dallas. Like, you know, last 2 weeks, it was, okay, Thanksgiving. You know, Jerry Jones might have Jason Garrett on the hot seat, and, oh, the Cowboys, they look terrible. Then last week, we did it again. Like, we got all worked up. Oh, Thursday night against the Bears. They're still in first. This week, there's no buzz on the Cowboys.
Is there anything constructive? I just trash canned them. Is there anything positive?
There's no
They're in
buzz
first
on
place.
The Cowboys.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, okay, win this game, beat the Eagles next week, get a little juice back, win again in the week 17. Like, there is still a path to the playoffs and a path to Miami.
But they just never win. Every week they lose.
I just have been fooled too many times by this team. I can't get behind the Cowboys right now. They have burned me too many times in a big spot. That Jets game, you know, to lose to the Jets in New York and then to do it again at home against the Bills, and then last week.
Fool me, can't get fooled again.
It's hard.
That's right.
And
a
yet,
Texan.
Rams have won 5 of 7.
That's it. I mean, it's like there's a chance that they can get a home field game in the playoffs. I don't know. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm rooting for the Cowboys here because I don't want to see the Rams have to get hot. And then
Any NFC contender dynasty Dallas in the wildcard round?
No, exactly right. It puts the onus on Cousins and the Vikings that you have to beat the Packers if the Rams win. But if the Cowboys beat the Rams, Cousins can breathe a little bit, and that whole, will Kirk Cousins win the big game thing dies down.
I will say this for Dallas, and I know we're hard on them.
Because you're trying.
If only they had some talented players.
Well, yeah, I know, and that's it. That's the blue and silver lining is that they do have talented players. Like, at some point, they would have to figure it out, and I get it. We're at the point in the season where you are who you are. But the fact that they do have Dak Prescott still fighting for his contract. You got Ezekiel Elliott, who we're all saying, yo, Zeke, where are you? I know that teams are loading the box. Amari Cooper, do you want to get paid? Or are you just cruising through the end of the season trying not to get hurt? Defense, You're way too
You're naming
talented.
the entire team right now.
I'm
So
naming,
is
but I'm
someone doing anything
I'm giving
right?
you specific reasons why these guys are motivated. I'm not just naming guys on the roster.
No, but I'm saying
telling you why
there hasn't
these
been
guys
one silver lining.
usually it's a team collectively that wants to win a Super Bowl. I'm telling you why individuals are motivated. And if you have enough individuals that are motivated, you guys can reach a common goal, which is redirecting your season in the right direction. And I feel like they can do that. And on top of that,
Matt, you've been on teams before where they just don't have it. You know you're not going anywhere. It's rotten. The locker room's not there. You've given a million speeches before the game, and you go out and lose. Like, doesn't this feel like this team that's just it doesn't have it?
They feel like they don't have the juice. But just like I mentioned in 2-point conversing, the 9-7 Giants in 2011 won the damn Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, look in the mirror and say, do we have more talent than that Giants team? And you can answer yes. We'll figure it out and win some games in the month of December. And then once you get in, it's the tournament. Once you're in, anybody can win.
They have the talent. They're going to have to pay some of those guys. I'm sure Jerry Jones' ears perked up when the salary cap was changed. That's all going on right now, and he doesn't have very far to go there. It's going on in Texas. NFL owners currently meeting to discuss the league's biggest issue, salary cap among them. Let's send it over now live to Judy Batista, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero with us with the latest on the ground in Las Colinas. Take it away.
Well, good morning, guys. I think our day is probably going to be dominated again by talk of the New England Patriots. We may get a resolution on this investigation. That would be pretty fast for the NFL. But they have already interviewed all the people they needed to interview. They've looked at the tape. They've looked at the security report. Certainly the feeling you get from talking to people around here late yesterday was they do not think that this rises to the level of a competitive advantage that the Patriots were trying to get. They seem inclined to believe the Patriots' version of events, that this was an innocent mistake by a production crew and that it was not at the direction of the football side of the operation.
And that's what Bill Belichick has been clear about, that the football people didn't know anything about it, and the production crew was a third-party contractor, essentially, that the Patriots hired. And meanwhile, the Bengals people are not happy still, and I think they have a lot of questions for the league, including why were the Patriots literally filming their sideline? And that's something where you talk to the Patriots rivals, talk to other people here. They have questions too. They obviously would like to see the Patriots punished, but you look at what has sort of come out a little bit, and the Patriots, Tom, have basically said they did it. It's just the intention that's kind of being discussed.
These were shocking images when Bengals people were able to view portions of the video. I've spoken to one of them who says it's a very clear shot of coaches signaling on the sideline, something that you are not allowed to shoot, whether it's innocent or not. That's what the NFL is having to sort through here, is what were the intentions, what were the mechanics of how this entire thing came to be. This is what advanced scouts do. They claim they're making a documentary on advanced scout. You're watching the signaling, you're watching the substitution patterns. The one thing you can't do, tape it. And of course, there's a history here. If this were a different team, this would not be the top story.
We would not have
Patriots,
heard about it at all.
And here we are.
Right. The other thing we're almost certainly going to hear a lot about today from the competition committee is officiating, which I think has probably been the topic of the season so far. The NFL doesn't like it that way. I've been told that once the season ends, there will be a top-down review of officiating. They're going to look specifically at pass interference replay, how that's been handled, whether they want to rewrite the rule, junk it altogether, perhaps. And they are certainly going to look at, do they have the right personnel in the right jobs at the command center to handle replay? That has been a big issue this year. Do they need, you heard Sean Payton sort of tee up the idea of a three-person committee handling replays.
Yeah, and so much of it now, Judy, is communicating with the public on social media and other ways, just explaining the rules, and certainly that has been something that's kind of been lacking. Meanwhile, Tom, it does seem like they're going to take a look at one of the more exciting plays that now is no longer exciting in the NFL, the onside kick. We're going to go through this offseason, see, can they take something which they made healthier, they made safer, but basically took it away. Can they make it exciting again without adding all that risk?
Officiating, one of the first topics that's going to come up here when the meetings get going in about 2 hours. There will be a variety of other sessions throughout the day, including a report on the state of collective bargaining negotiations toward a new deal. As you said yesterday, Judy, those negotiations with the union going to continue tomorrow. There's optimism here. I've not sensed the same level of optimism yet on the part of the NFLPA.
And as we go back to you guys, just an update. They got the range on what the salary cap is going to be for next year, the projections. The range is $196.8 million to $201.2 million per club. If that holds up, that's an increase of at least $10 million over last year. That would be 7 years in a row of at least $10 million a year increase.
Dak Prescott's probably watching this morning with maybe a bit of a smile on his face. Thank you so much, Judy Batista and Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, for setting the table, the agenda for us today with more on the Bengals and Patriots story. Keep it right here on NFL Network. You guys will be bringing us the latest all day long. They've been stacking wins.